Hello, it's Myster Spock here. I just want to do a little video this morning about a few laws that we've had established in our country. It's pretty interesting. I thought about this and I'm like, okay, well, we have thou shalt not kill. We have a few others that are just fundamental to society, like thou shalt not steal. And I got thinking about stealing a little bit more about the meaning behind it, and it's really like stealing anything away from us as humans. And really, thou shalt not steal should really apply to our health as well. Thou shalt not steal any physical property, and as humans, we are physical property. So when somebody else does something willingly to take our health away from us, I'd have to think it's thou shalt not steal our health. So it gets me thinking about what's going around the world now with all of our technology, specifically the radio frequencies in the air and what's coming off the power grid with magnetic and electrical fields. And could this be classified as thou shalt not steal your health when these forces are going on that are not natural, that are caused by humans, and they damage us over time, over longer periods of time? Because when damage can't be seen readily as just a cause and effect directly, like you have a bullet, obviously hitting somebody, you see the direct cause and effect. But if you pulse, a beam of light that can have a damaging effect on your cells, creating peroxynitrite, free radicals, pretty much contributing to a lowered health status, could this be classified under thou shalt not steal your health? Because if it eventually, I think eventually this issue is going to go to the Supreme Court. And I say this because now we're seeing a lot more direct damage, potential in a lot of the population with smart meters and with specific use. But really it comes down to, is the perpetrator knowingly causing damage to your health, or do they have a belief system where they just don't believe these forces have any potential health impact? So I actually agree that a great majority of the people that work for industry and products, they do not know, or they do not believe that these products are damaging to your health, or they probably would stop themselves or complain about it, even if their livelihoods depended on it, because they know that they're here for a short period of time and the next generation is going to have to deal with it, and somebody's going to have to, have enough courage to come out and start talking about anything you're causing. If I let's say was, building a home, and I knew the home was unstable in its foundation, but I continued to put the house on top of it, knowingly, having known that the foundation was a problem, would I allow somebody else to move into the home, or do I feel morally obligated to let the person know, hey, this home has a bad foundation, maybe we should go in and try to make it safer and make it, fix the issues with it before we could potentially harm the person living in that home if, something happened and there was structural damage and somebody got hurt. So this is kind of what the issue is, and that's why we have laws in place for safety standards to minimize risk. And with all of what we have going on in our current day, the risk is not really being mitigated by our laws of the land, and that's where this issue eventually needs to go. So I got a little, law kind of political on us here, but it is what it is, and just because we can't see it with our naked eye doesn't mean the potential risk doesn't exist. And it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind on this issue for everyone, in our, all of our political elected leaders, because they do not want to kind of open a can of worms, reveal it to the public, panic the public from from a lot of their perspectives, because they're weak, they have no backbone, they're cowards, and they want to dig down and have enough courage to help really the foundation of everyone, because they have a belief system where they think the status quo is fine. There's really not much going on here, because they are not scientific minded people. They do not look up on the scientific journals. They have probably been given certain pieces of faulty, a few faulty pieces of science here and there to appease their current mentality and beliefs on the issue. So it is a matter of people awakening, talking to other people, so education happens across the world on this issue. Otherwise, we're moving into a more disease-filled world, and people will attribute their diseases to the physical, as they always have in the last 50-60 years. They won't think about the energy and light mechanics, even though Einstein right in front of us says E equals mc squared. And radio frequency microwave radiation will continue to pulse above our homes that we own, which is yet another issue. We own the airspace above these homes that we've purchased, even though they're using our own airspace to bring in energy and light waves, and without our permission. And that's another side of it, that if we supposedly own our airspace, you can't start flinging rocks above a person's house, because that's going to not hold up in a court of law. The person throwing the rocks will be arrested. But right now, this time we live in, people are able to throw beams of light above our house that have a measurable milliwatts per square meter intensity, power attached to them. And some of these, even though they are weak, we do know as humans the DC electromagnetic energy system built into us also uses ultra weak energy. So we don't need a lot of it to have an effect inside of the human body. So one could make lots of arguments right now legally as to why it's allowed that we have stuff coming into our space, into our airspace, especially that we own, into our bodies, which is thou shalt not steal parts of our health. And ironically, we end up paying for it 20, 30 years down the road. They actually do steal financially from us the money that was because of the cause of this. Even though no one really can see the damage short term, well, in some cases they can if you're electrosensitive like me, but long term, if you have a damaging health effect that comes from these things, thou shalt not steal is actually in effect full force financially, and no one's to blame, because it was the whole society that set up, all of humanity that set up the problem to begin with, and our health is being stolen from us. So I'll end it here. I know this video is, hard to hear for a lot of people, and it's hard for me to say, but ultimately you have to come down on the truthfulness of what is going on. And when you have enough knowledge to understand the physics and then understand the biophysics, how it's impacting us, you can't just, if you have any conscience left in you, you cannot just sit around and think, hey, I'm just going to let all this stuff go on around me, because eventually, somebody's got to come up and talk about this issue because of the next generation, or they're going to be worse off, then the following generation is going to be worse off. And if it just keeps snowballing and we just continuously have exposure to this stuff all the time, and they bury it under the biochemical rug and they don't think about the biophysics, that's what it's going to be. People are going to suffer, and no one's going to know why the suffering's happening, and they're going to be blaming it on everything physical around us instead. So that's a good summary. I'm out here in 20-degree Bend, Oregon, looking at some pine trees, if you want to know what this video is all about. Have a good one, guys. Myster Spock out.